Hey everybody, this is GGB. Today we're going to be talking about, obviously, all the NFL games. It's going to be cool. Get into it. We have a weird game, 8:30 Central. We got the Dolphins traveling to Jacksonville. Well, not truly traveling to Jacksonville. I'm glad other teams are being stolen of their home games. As a Saints fan, it makes me rather glad that I have to see other teams not really get a home field advantage either. But this game's going to be taking place in London, which honestly should not count as anyone's home game, right? Am I the only one that thinks that? I think that's just absolutely atrocious. It doesn't seem quite fair, but, let's go over who the Dolphins might be. Dolphins will be getting back to attack if I had lower for this week, which is huge. It's such a huge thing. The Dolphins' offense has been sputtering. They're 1-4 right now, and they desperately need him to come in and succeed. The problem with that is you look at this roster at receiver, what started out as in my opinion, one of the deepest receiving cores in the entire NFL. It has been really thinned out over the past couple of weeks. You have Devontae Parker. He's going to be out with a shoulder injury this week. Will Fuller's gone on IR with a finger injury. He's out till week 8. Preston Williams has a groin injury. He's had a limited practice, so he's questionable. Allen Hurns went down with a wrist injury on IR. And they traded away Jakeem Grant to the Bears, I think. So, that seemed like a smart move at the time, but now it's like this receiving core is thin. Obviously, your number one receiver, if Preston Williams is not able to go, is going to be Jalen Waddle, the 2020 first-round pick out of Alabama. But then after that, you got Albert Wilson, the veteran out of Georgia State in his 8th year in the NFL. Mac Hollins, who's made some big-time plays for the Dolphins in the past, but he's going to be your number 3 option. 2017 4th-round pick out of UNC. And then you get some guys you got off the street. Isaiah Ford has been on the practice squad for at least a year now. The 2017 7th-round pick out of Virginia Tech. And then you got Kirk Merritt, the second-year player out of Arkansas State. So again, some injuries on that side of things. Luckily, they didn't have any injuries on the running back side of things. But at tight end, they do lose their number 3. Adam Shaheen, their number 3 tight end, has a knee injury. He had a limited practice, so he's questionable. If he's not able to go, Ethan Carter will be the number 3 tight end's position, the 6-year player out of Nebraska. And then center Michael Dieter, unfortunately, went down with an injury foot. He on IR at least until next week. But Greg Max, the 8th-year veteran out of Toledo, is going to take over that starting role. On defense, there's honestly not that too many injuries, but your number 1 and number 2 corner, Xavier Howard, has a shoulder injury. He's going to be out for this game. And Byron Jones had a limited practice. He's questionable with an Achilles injuries. Both of them aren't ready to go. You're going to be looking at Elijah Campbell, the second-year player out of Northern Iowa, and Justin Coleman, the 8th-year player out of Tennessee, starting in those 2 roles. How far has Noah Igbenogany fallen? This was a first-round draft pick last year. Obviously, he's not a rook. He's in his 2nd year in the NFL. He is literally their 5th corner. It's just weird. Nick Needham, obviously a guy they have a lot of respect for. Nick Needham, 4th-year player to UTEP, but they mostly use him in the nickelback role, which is why he's so far not on the list. They don't want him really starting at boundary corner. And then Trill Williams, the rookie out of Syracuse. If you know me, I was a big fan of Trill Williams coming out of college. I really think he should have been drafted. So we'll see if he can make his way onto the field today. Jaguars have a couple injuries. Most people know the DJ Chark injury. He's got an ankle, IR, likely out for the year. That bumps everyone up a spot. Marvin Jones Jr., 2012 5th-round pick out of Cal, is going to be the number 1 receiver. Laviska Shenault Jr. been having a quietly very good year on the Jaguars. 2020 2nd-round pick out of Colorado, who is... If you go back and watch my video, top 10 receivers in the draft, I was a huge fan of Laviska Shenault Jr. coming out of college. He's finally proven me right. So Jamal Agnew was a guy I've been talking about a while. Every single Jacksonville game, and it's like I'm saying he's not being utilized enough. He's finally been promoted to the number 3 wide receiver role. He was number 4 last week, despite the DJ Chark injury. He's a 2017 5th-round pick at San Diego, but he is a phenomenally fast player. Great slot guy to have. Tavon Austin is listed as the number 4 receiver, 2013 first-round pick out of West Virginia. Tyron Johnson is the number 5 receiver, 5th-year player out actually third-year player out of Oklahoma State, and then in Laquan Treadwell's their number 6 receiver now. 2016 first-round pick out of Ole Miss, if you did not know. Man has been himself a case of what happens when you get a little bit too full of yourself. He was a first-round draft pick and then just really never produced with the Vikings. Enters the offensive line. Obviously, it wasn't the best offensive line to begin with, which is why this hurts. Brandon Linder went down with a knee MCL injury. He's going to be on our at least until week 9, which means Tyler Shatley, the 9th-year player out of Clemson, is going to be starting at center. And then at right guard, AJ Cann went down with a knee injury. He's going to be on IR until week 8, which means Ben Barch, 2020 4th-round pick, is going to be starting at right guard. Defensive end, we got Roy Robertson Harris. He had an ankle injury. He had a limited practice on Friday, so he's going to be questionable for this game. If he's not able to go, DeJuan Smoot is probably their leading player to get it. He was a 2017 third-round pick out of Illinois. Adam Gotsis also has seen a good amount of snaps. So the 2016 second-round pick out of Georgia Tech could see it. Taven Bryan's one of those weird players. 2018 first-round pick out of Florida, and he is listed as their number 5 defensive end on the depth chart. Obviously, that really hurts if you are a Jaguar fan. And then inside linebacker, this is the injury that really hurts, is Miles Jack. He went down with a back injury. He's going to be out for this, at least until week 8, which means our options starting is Dakota Allen, the 2019 7th-round pick out of Texas Tech, Shaquille Quarterman, the 2020 4th-round pick out of Miami, and Chappelle Russell, the 2020 7th-round pick out of Temple. So, this is a must-win for the Dolphins. So, honestly, Dolphins, come on, you got to prove me right here. You got to stay in playoff contention. You got to stay in there. I can blame a lot of the fact that they were not very good on offense and the fact that Jacoby Brissett was starting. Tua's got to do well. That's also an interesting injury. Jacoby Brissett's listed as questionable for this game. Tua Tagovailoa ends up re-injuring that rib, and Jacoby Brissett's not able to go. It's going to be a Reed Sennett. Obviously, not ideal for the Dolphins. If the Jags are really in a free fall right now. They desperately need a win. Which is why the spread's only 3 points in this game. I like the Dolphins here, though. I think the Dolphins are going to get the win coming with a Tua Tagovailoa resurgence. Give me the Dolphins. Chargers. 12 o'clock, we got Chargers traveling to the Ravens. Ravens favorite by 2.5 points on CBS. We have some significant injuries for the Chargers. We'll go through them real quick. Mike Williams has a knee injury. Did not play on Friday, so he's listed as questionable. If not, everyone moves up a slot. Everyone knows how great Keenan Allen is. He's listed as number 2 on the depth chart, but let's be honest, everyone knows Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are a 1A, 1B kind of thing. 2013 third-round pick out of Cal. Jalen Guyton would be moving into that number 2 role, the third-year player in North Texas. Josh Palmer would move up a spot too, being more the number 3 kind of slot guy. The third-round pick out of Tennessee, actually the rookie. And then KJ Hill would fall into that kind of number 4 role. The 2020 7th-round pick out of Ohio State. I bet they signed someone up from the practice squad as well. Right tackle, we also got Brian Bulaga, went down with an injury to his back. He's gone on IR. He's going to be out to week 8, which means Storm Norton is going to be replacing him, the third-year player out of Toledo. Inside linebacker, we got a Drew Tranquil injury, chest, so he's going to be out for this game. Nick Neiman is the leading player to take over his job, 2020. He's going to be a rook. 6th-round pick out of Iowa. And then we have Amon Ogbongbemiga. I really don't want him to start. But he's a rookie out of Oklahoma State. He plays left inside linebacker, I believe. Tranquil plays right inside linebacker, which is why I think Nick Neiman has the better chance of starting. And then Cole Christensen is listed as the number 3 at left inside linebacker. He's a second-year player out of Army. So, and then finally for our last injury, we had Nasir Adderley. Yeah, he has a hip injury. He's gonna be out for this game, which means either Mark Webb Jr., 2021 7th-round pick out of Georgia, is gonna start, or the backup strong safety Alohi Gilman, the 2020 6th-round pick out of Notre Dame, is gonna start. And then obviously the long shot, but I'm just telling everyone he's gonna move up a spot at least, is Trey Marshall, the 4th-year player at Florida State. He has a chance, but I don't think it's a good one. Ravens, everyone knows the Ravens' history with injuries. They've been having some bad ones. Um, they're starting offense left tackles out, and I think it's Ronnie Stanley and Alejandro Villanueva, their backup offensive tackle, is listed as officially questionable for this game. So if he's not able to play, it's going to be a third string offensive tackle going against Joey Bosa. That's not great. And then you have, obviously the running back injuries have been devastating for this Ravens team, but have been able to bounce back. They have, I think they've figured out a pretty good, successful formula running the ball with Devonta Freeman and, sorry, got a cough, Devonta Freeman and Latavius Murray. And then, I'm thinking Tyson Williams, I believe. I'm not positive, but I think Le'Veon Bell is no longer in that 3 running back lineup. And then you have Sammy Watkins going down with an injury. Now, you could get Rashad Bateman back for this game. You could be the first time to see that first-round rookie if you're the Ravens. But obviously, the Watkins injury means a lot. And if Bateman's not able to go, Devin Duvernay was going to be filling him in that number 2 role. And then Prochet's going to come in for that number 3 role. And then you also lose Nick Boyle to an MCL injury. So it's going to be, I think, Tomlinson or Josh Oliver filling in that role. Ravens obviously have a lot of defensive issues as well. I think this is interesting. You have 2 4-1 teams. The Chargers leading the AFC West right now, which is really interesting. Not many people predicted that. Ravens are also, but this is really between the 2 quarterbacks. You have Justin Herbert versus Lamar Jackson. I think we could get into our second straight shootout. And honestly, if I'm going to go with a shootout, I think it's going to be the Chargers. I love LA. I love what they're doing right now. I picked them to be a playoff team for a reason this year. I didn't think they were going to be this good, but they're playing really great football right now, and I think it's going to be hard to pick against the Chargers. Give me LA to win this one on the road. 12 o'clock at the Vikes traveling to Carolina to play the Panthers. Vikes are by 2.5 points on this game on Fox. I believe CMC has been officially ruled out for this game, which really is starting to hurt if you're a Panthers fan. Because ever since CMC's gone down, it went down in that Texans game, you lost 2 straight. And it's like, rawr, if he doesn't go down in that game, who knows if you lose to the Cowboys, and who knows if you lose to the Eagles, because you probably can chew more clock. Chuba Hubbard is not a bad, and Royce Freeman aren't bad options, and honestly, Chuba Hubbard was one of my favorite running backs in the draft, but it's still not ideal, and it's not helping Sam Darnold, that's for sure. Vikes are a team that kind of need to get going if they really want to stay in this playoff picture for very much longer. You're talking about an NFC that is packed in the NFC West, and the NFC South is really putting together some good teams as well. The NFC East isn't doing much outside of Dallas, but regardless, you still have Chicago on your team, on your north side. So, I mean, like, you're talking about legitimately, like, if I had to do my playoff picks now, I'd probably put the Rams and the Cards in at the NFC West, and then the NFC South would be won by the Bucs, the NFC East would be won by the Cowboys, the NFC North would be won by the Packers. So that leaves 2 more spots, and I'd probably put the Saints and the Panthers in, if I'm going to be honest, and if I had to pick a team that just missed it, it would be Chicago. If I'm going to be honest, Minnesota right now is not, they're not wowing me. Now, how much of that was a Dalvin Cook injury? I believe he is back this week, so that's going to be huge for this Vikings team. Their offense really runs through him. So I think it's going to be interesting. You're going to get to see Kirk going back to what he does best, playing on play action. So I think it's going to be interesting. I like the Vikes here. I think the Vikes are a very good football team, and I think this is like one of those ones they need to win, and the Panthers are on kind of a slump, and I don't think CMC's playing in this game. Makes me like the Vikes here. 12 o'clock, the Packers traveling to the Bears. Packers favored by 6 on Fox. And if you want to talk about a team that is being, like an entire room, it's just like one section is being decimated by injuries, it is the Bears in their running back room. Man, this is hurt if you're a Bears fan. Because you enter the season thinking your running back room is rock solid, right?
you're looking at, you got David Montgomery, who is a really great running back. I put him top 15, top 20 in this league. He's a really great running back. Um, yeah, Tariq Cohen, I understand he's not going to be healthy for the start of the year, but you're going to get him later on in the year. He's going to be a nice compliment to David Montgomery. Uh, you also have Damian Williams, you pick up out of free agency in case Montgomery gets hurt for a little bit. You can put in Damian Williams and he'll do just fine. Again, running back from Kansas City, who was really, really crucial in that Super Bowl run. So again, you get a really solid running back there. And then you get a really good running back, Khalil Herbert, in the 6th round out of Virginia Tech. And I'm entering thinking, oh my God, Bears running back room, phenomenal. Obviously, Tariq Cohen is still not ready to go. David Montgomery is down with an injury, and then Damian Williams has been diagnosed with COVID-19 this week, which means
Suddenly, if you're Khalil Herbert, the rook out of Virginia Tech, you go from being the number 4 option that doesn't see the ball at the beginning of the year to suddenly being the go-to back in Chicago in a team that mainly runs it. If you go back and you watch the game against at Las Vegas, it is just running the ball. Now, a lot of that running the ball was with Khalil Herbert, I agree. Damian Williams and then kind of served as a 1-2 punch. But you take away that 1-2 punch and you got just Khalil Herbert. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, you can't have just one running back. They signed Ryan Nall off the practice squad. He was their starting running back last year when they were losing a whole bunch of games. He's not a phenomenal running back. He's not a starting running back in this league. Now, he could be a nice compliment, maybe, to Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert's got to hold down the fort, though. I think it's going to be interesting, especially against the Packers defense that has been playing weirdly well recently, especially with all the injuries they've had to suffer through. The Packers offense obviously doing well, but the Bears defense is really good this year. I think it's going to be a good game, but the problem is for the Bears, in my opinion, is the Packers. I mean, the running game is just probably not going to be there without your top 3 running backs, and you're going to rely a lot more on Justin Fields that you're used to, and the fact is the Packers are going to be able to exploit that playing a rookie. Give me the Packers to win, and I think I'm going to pick the Bears to cover because it's a 6-point spread. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Packers are going to pull that up. 2 o'clock of the Bengals traveling to Detroit to play the Lions on Fox. Both these teams are coming off heartbreaking losses. One, I don't know. They were both pretty heartbreaking. Obviously, only one made their coach cry, so, I mean, you can argue either way, but I feel like the Lions kind of win that argument. Lions, if you didn't watch that game, they were down, I think, by 10 points late in the 4th. They were able to storm back, and they go for 2 to take a 1-point lead, and they get it. I remember my dad and I said to each other, this is how the Lions are going to lose the game, because I always find interesting ways to lose football games. This is how they're going to lose it. They're going to go for 2, and they're not going to get it. They got it. I'm like, oh my God, are the Lions going to win a game? No. They let the Vikes drive down the field and then kick a 50-plus yard field goal to win it. Heartbreak there. And if you don't know, the Bengals had 2 opportunities to win this game against the Packers. They had a field goal try in regulation, and then in overtime, the guy thinks he made it, and he celebrates a little bit too early, Evan McPherson, and it does not go in. It hits the flag, and Mason Crosby's able to hit that field goal. Bengals are still a really good team, in my opinion. I think Joe Burrow has this team playing extremely well. You have Mixon. You have basically all your targets. Sorry, God. Lions, on the other hand, they're hapless right now. I'm sorry. They're not doing well at all. I really feel bad for Detroit, but the Bengals are really the better team here. I feel like the Lions are going to hang on, though, for a long time. Jared Goff. The defense has been playing surprisingly well, considering their talent level. But I think the Bengals are going to eke out another victory, and the Lions are going to lose another heartbreaker. So I got Texans traveling to the Colts, and when I saw this spread, I legitimately was like, am I looking at the wrong game? Because I understand the Texans are 1-4. But the Colts are also 1-4, and it's not like they're 1-4, but they've been in every game. It's like a Lions version of 0-5, where they're not really as bad as some 1-4 teams. They're much better, actually. They just had some bad luck. The Colts are not like that. I don't think they've lost a close game outside of the Baltimore one. They lost that Baltimore one on Monday night.
That was more of a choke job. And honestly, I thought Kyle Shanahan, they traded for midway through the game.
Texans also choked last week, but I feel like it's more acceptable with the Texans because, I mean, obviously you weren't in Super Bowl mode, or at least deep playoff mode like the Colts are. They traded a lot to get Carson Wentz, and it's really not paying off all that much. My Texans, though, playing extremely well, surprisingly. And if you're Davis Mills, if you could just get this win right here. Tyrod Taylor's expected back next week. If the Titans could just please lose to Buffalo on Monday night, you could end up being 2-4, and the Titans 3-3, and through all as insane as it would be, you would only be one game back in the division, and you're getting back your starting quarterback in Tyrod Taylor. Not to mention, this week you're supposed to get back the majority of your weapons. Danny Amendola is expected back this week, as well as Nico Collins. So you're bringing back Danny Amendola in the slot. You have Brandon Cooks already. Who am I thinking of? Chris Conley's been playing extremely well. Moore came out of nowhere last week and had a hell of a game. And Nico Collins, again, I love Nico Collins, was playing great before he got hurt. This Texans defense is playing way above their skill level. Ross Blacklock and Greenard are both playing phenomenally well. Whitney Merciless has had a history of destroying the Colts' offensive line. The problem with the Texans, though, is the Colts normally beat them. They've really had the Texans' number recently. I think it's going to be interesting. I think this is one, not between two great teams, but I mean, these are two teams that, again, if whoever wins this game is 2-4, right? And I doubt the Titans beat the Bills on Monday night. I'll tell you that right off the bat. So they could legitimately be only one game out of first place in the AFC South. And honestly, going 1-4 for the first 5 games, and then after this week being only one game out of first, is about as great as you could possibly expect it to be. I really like the Texans here. I understand I picked the Texans last week. It was a huge upset, and they didn't quite pull it off. The Colts looked better last week on Monday against the Ravens, but I still think they're not quite there yet. I think the Texans' defense and Lovie Smith can take advantage of that, and I like the Texans here to win this one and pull a little bit closer to the Titans. 12 o'clock with the Rams traveling to New York to play the Giants. Rams here by 8 points on Fox. Now, the big question where the Giants was heading into this game, who's going to be playing for the Giants? Because we all know everyone got hurt. It was a big thing. Saquon Barkley, Kenny Galladay both out for this game, but it seems like, Daniel Jones passed the concussion protocol, so he should be able to start in this game, and they should be getting back Sterling Shepard. Kadarius Toney was listed as questionable. I feel like he's going to play in this game, though. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to have to be all on Daniel Jones, because the fact is Booker is not going to provide you a running game. Honestly, I don't know why they haven't signed a player like Adrian Peterson or Frank Gore. I understand a little bit past their primes, but a guy that can still contribute to you on a football team that wants to win now, and that's how the Giants have got to start winning now if they want. A lot of people want to keep their jobs. So I think it's going to be interesting. The Rams are obviously the better team here, which is why it's the second largest spread of the day. I think it's interesting. I think this is an interesting matchup, mainly because I think Matthew Stafford's a really great quarterback, but New York's defense has been playing rather solidly lately, although obviously they were gassed at the end of the Dallas game because their offense couldn't get anything going because Mike Glennon, Devontae Booker, and Kadarius Toney were their starters. Obviously, the return of Sterling Shepard means a lot. This was really their leading receiver before his injury. I really like the Rams here. The Rams were my Super Bowl pick. I understand I picked the Giants to make the postseason. But I'm going to stick with my Super Bowl pick. I like the Rams here. I think Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback, and I like him to win here against New York. 12 o'clock with the Chiefs traveling to Washington to play the Redskins. Talking about two teams I really like that have been disappointments so far this year. I understand Kansas City can obviously get it back together. It just takes a little bit. It just takes the defense not being the worst defense in the entire NFL. And they're right back in it. The offense is obviously able to put up points. Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. And you still have Terry Hill, Travis Kelce. You have a good offensive line. I think this offense has all it takes to produce. If you want to talk about a unit that is severely underproduced, let's talk about this Redskins defense. You had, in my opinion, you have the talent to be the best defense in the NFL, right? You have 4 of the best pass rushers in the NFL. 4. 4 first-round draft picks on your starting line. You also have depth at Matthew Ioannidis and Tim Settle, who could start for literally almost any other NFL team and dominate and be one of their better players. You have a linebacker core, though, while admittedly weak, a first-round draft pick from this year, and Cole Holcomb, who has been a phenomenal player for the past couple of years. And then you have the secondary, which has Landon Collins, who's one of the highest-paid safeties in the league, Cameron Curl, who was a breakout player last year. You have Kendall Fuller, who was one of the better corners in the league last year. You have William Jackson III, the guy the Redskins spent a lot of money in free agency bringing in. And then you have Bobby McCain, another guy that played phenomenally well with the Dolphins. So why does this defense suck? Because I don't understand it. It was big plays last week, and I blame a lot of those on Landon Collins. Landon Collins has not been paying up to his contract level, and honestly, should be benched. He should be benched. Cam Curl should go back to his starting spot, and let's be honest, Jeremy Reeves and Deshazor Everett were both doing much better than this when they were starting last year, but I don't think it's just that. Obviously, it's not just that. The linebacker play has not been good, and that relies a lot on Jamin Davis. Jamin Davis has not been the first-round draft pick. He was cracked up to be. Now, I understand he's out of Kentucky, so he's still got a couple things to learn, but by God, he should be able to be noticed on the football field. He should make a play now and then. He just disappears. And this Redskins offense is one that, it's weak. I don't know how else to say that. You got Antonio Gibson, you have J.D. McKissick, and I love them. And I love Terry McLaurin. But outside of that, Heineke has not been playing well. I think he's proven so far why he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he's a good backup in the NFL, but I don't think he's a good starter in the NFL. I think you're going to be with Terry McLaurin, but you're probably not going to have Curtis Samuel, the guy you spent a lot of money in free agency, bring it in. I think you're looking at legitimately, you also don't have De'Ami Brown and Cam Sims, and suddenly that receiving door is very thin. You have Adam Humphries, obviously, and you have DeAndre Carter, who was making plays last game, and a little bit of Dax Milne, but again, this is not the deepest receiving core for the Redskins. Tight end, you obviously no longer have Logan Thomas with the injury. Ricky Seals-Jones was pretty much shut down against New Orleans. And it's just looking like there's just not that many targets outside of the running backs and Terry McLaurin. Now, it's interesting, the Chiefs' defense has not been good, but the Redskins' offense hasn't been good. Something's got to give. They both can't suck. So, I think it's going to be interesting. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs. I mean, they gotta get back on track. And I think the Chiefs are a better team than the Redskins right now. Sorry, Redskins fans. It's a statement of fact. The Chiefs have the talent on offense, and the Redskins really don't. 3:05. We got the Cards traveling to Cleveland to play the Browns. Interesting. Oklahoma quarterback versus Oklahoma quarterback. Heisman versus Heisman. Browns favorite 3.5 points in this game on Fox. The really interesting point of this game is the Browns are going to be without Nick Chubb, which is like, oh my God. That's great news for me, because Kareem Hunt, if you do not know, is on my fantasy team. So, let's go. Cards, on the other hand, spent a good amount of money getting rid of tag corner that they could have used to bring in Zach Ertz. They lost Max Williams last week to a season-ending injury, and it would have been not good if you had to start your other guys. So they trade for Zach Ertz from Philadelphia, which if Dallas Goedert goes down, it is like, oof, there. But I'm not talking about Philly now. I don't know can he play in this game? I'm not positive. I think he has to, but I'm not sure. Obviously, this Cardinals offense is explosive attack, and there's reason they're undefeated. Obviously, everyone wants to talk about the defense. You got Kyler Murray. You got, dude, James Conner has been a beast since he's been there. And Chase Edmonds has really been a legitimate number 2 option there. But you still got DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore. So obviously an explosive offense there. Not to mention you're adding in Zach Ertz. But the defense has been way better than I expected them to be. I expected them to be a mid-tier defense, but like this is a defense that is legitimately, like, it looks like a Super Bowl contender with this defense. You know, we've seen strong starts by the Cards before, and then they kind of whimper and die down the stretch. But I don't know, this feels different. You have a defense that's dominating the way that the Cardinals' defense is dominating. You have an offense that has the ability to put up 50 points in a game. But you're also going against a Cleveland defense. Struggled last week, admittedly, against LA, but also it's very good. I think this is going to be a tough one. I think I got to go with the Cards simply because they're undefeated. They're playing really good football right now. And let's be honest, the Browns lost their best player on the entire football field, Nick Chubb. Now, Kareem Hunt is a very good number 1 option, but I don't know who's going to be their number 2 now that Chubb's gone. Jarvis Landry is probably going to return for this game, which is great news for the Browns, but I still don't think it's going to be enough. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Cardinals are going to upset the Browns in Cleveland. 3:25, we got the Raiders traveling to Denver to play the Broncos. Broncos here by 4 points on CBS. And I could talk about how all day it was stupid to get rid of Jay Gruden. And honestly, John Gruden was not wrong when he was talking about Roger Goodell. He was honestly extremely accurate in the language he used to describe Roger Goodell. I can't say it on YouTube, or I'm pretty sure I would be demonetized. I don't really care that much about that, but I really don't want a video of me saying the F slur and another word to be on YouTube. Really don't want that. I don't want to be canceled, guys. So I think this is just going to be a bad week for Las Vegas. You cannot lose your head coach, and you expect the way they lost their head coach. Like I think there's a difference between their head coach being fired and the way that all went down. And I feel like it was just a bad taste left in everyone's mouth and how it went down. I don't feel like they're going to be super motivated to play football. Denver, they've lost 2 straight. They're struggling right now. I mean, as well as Las Vegas. Someone's losing streak has got to end. But I think this is an interesting game. I think this is a must win for Denver. I feel like it's a must win for Las Vegas. So who am I gonna go with? If you did not know, Denver's receiving corps is extremely demolished. You don't have Jerry Jeudy, you don't have KJ Hamler, and you lost Deshaun Hamilton before the season even started, which means suddenly Tim Patrick, who you wanted to ideally be your number 4 option in the offense, number 4 wide receiver, is now your number 2 receiver, with obviously Cortland Sutton being your number 1 option. And then you have Kendall Hinton, the guy, if you did not remember, played quarterback for the Denver Broncos last year. This is a weird scenario for Denver, but, I mean, Teddy's been able to make it work so far, able to catch some magic at the end of the Pittsburgh game, but unfortunately wasn't able to finish it. I like Teddy here. I like Teddy to go out here. He does just enough to beat this Las Vegas defense, and I think Broncos defense is going to destroy the Las Vegas offense since they're not locked in. Give me the Broncos to win and cover that 4-point spread. 3:25, we got the Cowboys traveling to New England to play the Patriots. Cowboys are over 3.5 points on CBS. I think this is an interesting game, but I think it should be one the Cowboys easily win. I think Mac Jones has been playing well, but again, he's only won 2 games, and both of them have been against rookie quarterbacks. And while he's undefeated against rookie quarterbacks, he is. I mean, it's not going to be. Dak Prescott is not a rook. Let's just put it that way. He is far from being an inexperienced player. The man has played a lot of football in his time, and he's accurate. And he's extremely good with the football. He knows when to take off. And this is a New England defense that struggled with Davis Mills. And while I do think Davis Mills has a lot of talent, and I feel like everyone was way too low on him, saying he was the worst starting quarterback in the NFL after they got crushed by Buffalo. It's just the fact that
Buffalo's gonna crush everyone. It's just that's the way they crushed the freaking Kansas City Chiefs, guys. The Buffalo Bills are on a tear right now. I feel like you can't hold that much against him. I feel like still Dak Prescott is a serious improvement over Davis Mills, and I feel like you just gotta pick the Cowboys for that simple reason. Plus, they're playing really great football right now. Their defense is lighting it up, which is a weird thing to say about talking about the Cowboys defense, but it's true. The Patriots defense has not been playing that well, and honestly, if you're asking Mac Jones to win a football game, that is a losing recipe for. That's not good. That's not how you win a football game. Give me the boys. Give me the boys to win this one. 7:20. We got Seahawks traveling to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Steelers favored by 5 points on NBC. Seahawks are coming off some heartbreaking news that they're going to be without Russell Wilson to week 10. That is insanely far off from now. They could easily be out of the playoff picture by then. And it's something that could happen.
It's heartbreaking if you're a Seahawks fan because he carried your offense for so much. Not to mention Chris Carson goes on IR this week. You're already out Rashad Penny, which means Alex Collins is going to be your number 1 running back. Travis Homer's your number 2. DJ Dallas is your 3. It's just like, oh my God, guys. It could not be much worse. It's like, not only are you out your quarterback, but you're also at your number 1 and number 2 running backs. And while Alex Collins has played well, you would like literally anyone else to be able to run well behind him. And Travis Homer and DJ Dallas ain't it, guys. It just ain't it. However, Pittsburgh got a big win against Denver last week. I still don't believe Big Ben Roethlisberger can really throw it deep. And they also got some horrible news this week saying Juju Smith-Schuster's out for the year. They still have one of the deepest running receiver crews in the entire NFL. Not that worried about them. You still got Chase Claypool. You still have James Washington. You still have Deontay Johnson. Still some very great players on the team. It still hurts to lose such a good player. You also have Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth. The offense should be exploding, but the offensive line is just not good enough to protect Big Ben. And this is how I describe the Steelers' offense. Do you remember Drew Brees in his last couple of years? How he couldn't throw the ball deep, right? I feel like everyone understood that, but Sean Payton was able to structure the offense to fit Drew Brees' ability. He was still a very accurate quarterback. It's like Mick Tomlin refuses to do that with Big Ben. It's like, oh, no, we're going to take shot after shot after shot. Big Ben's arm can't handle that anymore, dude, and neither can the offensive line. It doesn't make any sense. It's really, really stupid. I'm really torn. I really think these two teams are just not going to be very good. But Geno Smith, he's had success at some points in his career, and I think at this point in his career might be a better quarterback than Big Ben Roethlisberger. He has the targets. He was looking good against LA if Seattle's receiver hadn't just tripped to the ground. I like Seattle here. I understand the Steelers favored by 5 points. I don't care. I like Seattle to travel to Pittsburgh and win.